Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we are discussing a G series, circa 2010 Rolex Oyster Perpetual Datejust. This is the reference 116231 in 904L steel and Everose red gold. So the 116231 is a Datejust 36 millimeters in diameter. It's 11.8 millimeters thick, case only from lug to lug, 44.3 millimeters, end length to end length. Total distance is 45.5 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see it wears nicely. Nowhere near the edge of my wrist. Those lugs aren't encroaching in the least. I could recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 13 centimeters circumference, although it is the same size as the original male-intended Datejust of 1945. Over the years, 36 millimeters has become a very acceptable size for unisex watches, equally acceptable for him and for her, and this watch would wear beautifully on any size wrist. Taking a quick look, you can see another feature from the origin of the Datejust in 1945, and that is the Jubilee bracelet. 1945 was the Jubilee, or 40th anniversary of Rolex, and so the Datejust, which featured a jumping date, that is, the date was always just relative to the hands, and a Jubilee bracelet to mark the anniversary, you can actually see the watch is sort of mirrored in this modern iteration. We have a conforming end link on the Jubilee bracelet to better mate it to the case. We have a little bit of a taper down from the end link to the clasp. This is the Super Jubilee with all solid center links. So you can see we have rose gold as well as stainless steel, all solid, polished outer faces, polished center links, satin finished shoulders. We have removable links that are fixed by screws, and that on both sides of the clasp. The clasp is thick gauge steel, and you can see it features a beak and a hook system that snaps shut, so you don't just pull it open by prying. You actually have to lift and unlatch, giving you an extra measure of security right there. And it is the crown clasp that we're perhaps more used to seeing on the Date-8. That is to say, this is not the Oyster clasp, it is the thinner, lighter crown clasp with the only visible partition between the two halves being the 5-point coronet. Now, Rolex has its own foundry, it makes its own alloys, it builds its cases, bracelets, and clasps. Everose is Rolex's own red gold. It has been since 2005. A higher percentage of copper to make it redder and a higher percentage of platinum so it will not fade over time. Now, the steel, 904L. It's not any harder or lighter than conventional steel, but what it is more resistant to corrosion, particularly in the presence of salt, such as body sweat, such as sea salt. There are also some advantages if it's exposed to industrial acids, but that's rather less likely than a swim in the ocean. You don't have to rinse this off because of its corrosion resistance. Solid, screwed-in oyster case back, screw-down twin lock, Rolex crown. You know it's a twin lock because it has two dots. That means a twin lock in gold. Fluted bezel. For a long time, that meant you're looking at a gold bezel on Rolex watches. Now you can also get the platinum bezel fluted. So to this day still, if you see fluting, it means precious metal. You can see there's a little bit of a cambered and beveled sapphire with the Cyclops eye magnifier. A lovely and lustrous white lacquer dial. It is not silver white. It is white. Rose gold radially arrayed Roman numerals, including a watchmaker's 4 with faceted baton-style hands in rose gold. The watch has two subsidiary setting modes. There's hacking, where you stop the seconds hand. Now you can set it to a reference time. Then there's also a quick set, so you can rapidly cycle the date. Fun fact, if you want to know whether a watch is a 3135 or a 3235, well, if it's a 3135, you're going to set the watch in a clockwise direction. If it is a 3035 or a 3235, you set it forward, that is clockwise on the dial, by turning counterclockwise on the crown. So there's your hacking, your quick set, and your factoid. Inside, Rolex manufactured caliber 3135, automatic winding, bidirectional winding action, 48-hour power reserve, 31 pivot jewels, 4 Hz beat rate, chronometer certified by the COSC as a bare movement. It features a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance for shock tolerance, and an overcoil hairspring made of anti-magnetic niobium zirconium that allows the watch to do two things. First, anti-magnetic, speaks for itself, but the overcoil hairspring allows the watch to keep very consistent time, neither a pronounced gain nor a pronounced loss in any position, because the mass of an overcoil, in this case a hand-formed Breguet overcoil, it is more centered than with a flat hairspring. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this Rolex Oyster Perpetual Datejust.